What's up, Renegade Nation? Before we begin the video, I'd like to give a big shout out to our most recent Patreon supporters: Mystique Meredith, Windwalker57, Weiss Rose, Emperor Tiger Star, Zix Cafex, Golden Pants, Kyle the Warrior, Melody Richardson, Rodney Huggins, Zach, NB, Chaos Vesperia, Marvoius, and Alexander Pritt. Thank you all very much for your support. And if you want to support us on Patreon, feel free to click the link below in the description to find out more. We'll see you there. Had a discussion with Micah about this film last week. He stated that he thinks it's a great film. Great in so many ways. However, in terms of certain things being added in and certain things being shoehorned in and certain things, you know, power level wise not making any sense. For instance, I will say that this is a little bit of a sin thing here at the beginning, which it's not going to last very long. I just feel like I have to say it. Thor, at the end of Infinity War, took on Thanos with a Stormbreaker. He took on Thanos, who had all 5 stones, or who had all the, was it 5 or 6? 6, sorry. Who had all 6 Infinity Stones. And,
is there one on the thumb
yes,
knuckle too?
time stones on the thumb.
Okay, yeah, so yeah, there should be 6 then.
Yeah,
So
time,
there's 5, on,
space,
one on each knuckle,
power,
and then there's one
reality,
in the middle of the back of the hand.
Time, space, power, reality. I know the Mind Stone is the one in the middle of the palm of the hand. But the whole thing with Avengers Endgame, that Micah only has nitpick problems with it, which I understand. And my whole thing with Avengers Endgame, you know, I'm going to say this, and if I offend anybody, I really don't give a shit. Captain Marvel being thrown in right at the end of the Avengers, I have a problem with. If anything, the big scene at the end, actually, we'll talk about that if we ever do the part 2 of this, but I feel like including her in that was not a very good story element. Not only did I not like, I'm not going to say I did not like Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel had its redeeming qualities. However, it is definitely, to me, probably one of the weakest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe films. And that's not any shot at the film directly, but I would rather watch Thor Dark World than watch Captain Marvel. My opinion. And if anyone doesn't like that, then I'm sorry. That's just how I feel. And I feel that Captain Marvel being thrown in there right at the last part of it makes no sense. But, oh well. And for those of you out there who are saying that, you know, oh, you need a strong female character, well, it doesn't mean we didn't have plenty in it already. We had Okoye from Black Panther. We had Scarlet Witch. We had Black Widow. We had, at the end of this film, we had Pepper Potts in her own iron suit of armor. We had Shuri. We had a lot of great established female characters who were more than capable of handling things themselves. And then you throw in Captain Marvel, who honestly is just a terrible character. I'm sorry, but in the film she suffers from the exact same thing that she suffers from in the comic books. You can't get a handle on her personality and who she is. And for those out there who say, well, that's the point. Well, that makes her very uninteresting to me, because if I can't get a gauge on who she is as a character, why the hell should I give a shit? That's just my thoughts on it. But anyway, Yeah, that's Captain Marvel. This is Avengers Endgame. Let's see what Cinema Wins finds great about this film. At least part 1 of this film. So yeah, here we go. A 3, 2, 1. Oh, you got it on screen. Kick it.
Job, Hawkeye.
Compliments? Guess that's why he switches to Ronin. Our insider knowledge makes this a gruesome and crushing scene. Clint wouldn't even notice the dust or know what he was seeing if he did notice. We can even just barely see the family dust settling. Cold opens, in this case a scene before the Marvel logo, aren't exclusive to Endgame. All of these movies have one. But this one is definitely more impactful, catching up with an Avenger we missed last time. Infinity War actually opened on the Marvel logo, but forewent the typical theme for some dire Thanos music, since that was his movie. Now, Endgame ties us back into the emotional ending of Infinity War with some light dusting. We get the Marvel logo we've seen before, but with some blank spots, even showing where dusted Avengers should be, but aren't. You may not even notice right away, but it leaves you feeling a little empty. Granted, our remaining non-snapped Avengers just so happen to be our OGs. So, good to go. Also, the Marvel logo switched from red to black with a red 10 for 2018 MCU movies because it was the 10th anniversary and the red 10 pops on a black background. Captain Marvel and Endgame are both 2019 MCU and post-snap. The black now feels like mourning. Feels fitting that the return to the Benatar is with a little late 60s traffic, even if 62.5 to 87.5% of the Guardians are gone/dead, depending on how you count. A heart for anyone who figures out my math on that one. Also, Dear Mr. Fantasy is pretty on the nose. Something to make us all happy, takes us out of this gloom. I'm going to talk about this in the conclusion more, but this entire movie is a reminder of where everyone started compared to who they are now. If this doesn't make you think about Robert Downey Jr.'s workout routine in that tank top, we opened on the Infinity War timeline, and now we're in Endgame proper with Tony's first goodbye message. It's a smart misdirect. You don't even realize the movie is telegraphing Tony's death at first. A moving and appropriate choice, allowing him a chance to look his death in the face and let Pepper know he'll be alright. This is also the same subdued but gorgeous piece of music from Alan Silvestri used during Tony's funeral. Captain Marvel to the rescue! We will miss your beautiful beard, Cap, but knowing who you have to be in this movie, I understand. Hugging and love and tearing up before the 10-minute mark? I said this movie is about comparing our current selves to our past selves, and Nebula is a prime example. A story that spans, what, 4 movies with Karen Gillan? 2 subtle moments that mean a lot coming from her.
Here, take that. You find him. You put that on. You hide.
A timely reminder that Cap and Tony have not made up since Civil War yet.
Let's go get this son of a...
Language. Listen to that Avengers score. Updated with more horns, more triumph. Even the title card tells us whose movie this is. Golden, shining, solid, clean. Yep. 1940s Iceman gets to go to space before going back in time. Also memes. One last little trick making you think he still has the stones is if he used the Power Stone to pull up the floor, but it's just Iron Hulk. Let's call that teamwork.
I am inevitable.
No one ever talks about how Thanos ripped off Agent Smith, but that's okay. It's really not the I am statement that I walk away with. Barely comeuppance, but still comeuppance.
Oh, much for that.
Thor's only saying that because you people on the internet were so mean to him, but a perfect showcase of how revenge will never really satisfy you. In fact, it's a good way to fall down the depression spiral. What a real closing to Infinity War. Starting this movie with more defeat, even in success. But how about this upbeat Avengers-y space adventure-y tone? The trick that's played on us. Alright, let's get this son of a We'll chase him around the galaxy, fight some battles. I really need it after the downer of Infinity War. Oh, never mind. He dead. Oh my gosh, it's real. And it's possibly the best decision made for this movie. I asked for it in my Infinity War video, and I think everyone was a little nervous we'd get a Control-Z. But goodness, is it not. 5 years of living in Thanos' universe.
Went on a date the other day. I didn't even know what to talk about.
What did you talk about?
My job.
Director cameo.
Ideally, our first openly gay MCU character would be a main character and portrayed by an LGBTQ+ actor. But I also give Joe Russo props for being willing to take all the ridiculous, unwarranted backlash for this representation right on himself. So, we'll call it a baby steps win?
That's great.
And even the old-timer is accepting and doesn't even bat an eye. I knew I loved Cap.
Gotta move on.
Even before he confesses to Nat later, it's apparent that he's done moving on, as in can't, won't, not gonna move on.
Thanos should have killed all of us.
Clairvoyance? Ha! The Terminal Beach, a sci-fi anthology book, contains a short entitled Endgame. Overkill would know all about that. I can hear the questions in the back of my mind about why they put this van in storage, but when you think about it, whoever found it assumes Scott and whoever was at the controls got dusted, and the van is registered to Scott's company, so it's probably his ex-wife's storage unit. Or she rented a space for him. Which reminds me this movie is woefully under Judy Greered. But the storage unit thing stands. Looking forward to the spin-off, The Rat. We'd all have been screwed without him. Jax Films was pitting Endgame against Avatar, but this kid knows what's up. Such a 28 Days Later vibe. Again, our insider knowledge means it's not eerie for us, just sad. Getting to see both Clint and Scott deal with it for the first time throws us right back into shock. This quick indie film tracking shot is, believe it or not, one of my favorite moments in the movie. You barely notice his running is silent because of the panicky violin. Remember when the casting of Old Cassie spoiled the time travel for all of us, but then we were dead wrong about every other part? Yeah, I mean,
You're so big.
ugh, that crushing despair that you missed 5 years of your daughter's life mixed with relief that she's alive. Paul Rudd, sir, you are an actor.
If I move on, who does this?
Maybe it doesn't need to be done.
But isn't that the point? The question isn't who will do this, it's what do I do without this? I'm not gonna lie, finally really digging into Nat's thoughts and feelings make it hurt all the more. Nat either dyed her hair, I mean, Scarlett did, obviously, but I like the implication that in the 5 years since the snap, getting a haircut or keeping up on her blonde became less of a priority, and those are Natasha's actual red roots growing out. Scotland, high-angle security camera guy.
Have either of you guys ever studied quantum physics?
Only to make conversation.
And I'm gonna sing Paul Rudd's praises again. He has to capture confusion, disbelief, confusion, despair, optimism, and confusion, all while still being his comedic self.
Are you talking about a time machine?
No. No, of course not. No, not a time machine. This is more like like a time machine.
Honesty. Tony, prepare for some guests who have some crazy ideas, and you're gonna be angry about it. They'll need your help with a device only you're knowledgeable about, and if you agree, you can get your family back. You know, your surrogate son. Oh, and also maybe kill some monsters along the way. Sly way of pretending like you didn't actually get your wish to name her after Pepper's Uncle Morgan.
After your eccentric uncle. Morgan.
Morgan H. Stark. Want some lunch?
Aw, is the H for Howard? Named after two men. Rescue shadowing.
We did stand. And yet here we are.
Some are still standing, but Tony sits. It's a little metaphor for you.
I know, it's crazy. I'm wearing shirts now.
That is the weird part. Self-aware.
First Hulk lost and Banner lost.
It might feel a touch underwhelming as the payoff to what Hulk's problem was in Infinity War, but I really think it's that simple. Hulk had never been beaten so badly, and for what? The guy he shared a body with basically hated him, and no one on Earth will ever treat him as well as people did on Sakaar. This was a very logical solution.
You wanted to take a picture with them.
No, just move on. Just move on.
Professor Hulk is a more warm-hearted and confident version of Bruce, even if the differences are pretty subtle.
Oh, God.
I love that of all the Avengers, Hulk is the one with multiple catchphrases and a fan club.
Say green. Listen to your mom. She knows better.
Obedience advice.
Pulled this off. I remember a time when that seemed pretty impossible too.
Flirting? Do we still acknowledge that stuff from Age of Ultron? Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Flirting. Flirting continuity. Man who controls Iron Man suit cannot operate kitchen spray. Almost as if his subconscious needed to remind him that normalcy was never really for him. Oh,
Normality.
He sees the photo of his dad reminding him that science and engineering, yada yada. Nope. He actually did lose a child. It speaks to how much he has now. I don't personally believe Tony was ever truly anxious about the tech specifically, but losing his daughter because of some changes in the past, that's what he can't abide.
This time in the shape of a Mobius strip inverted.
Proof that Tony's STEM level is far beyond any of ours, since a Mobius strip inverted would just be a Mobius strip as far as I know.
I love you, Big Paladin.
Oh, that's so cute, but I bet I never think about it ever again.
What's new with composting?
Interesting side.
No, I can't help everybody.
Sort of seems like you can.
Not if I stop. I can put a pin in it right now.
Jokes aside, if this isn't character growth, Tony doesn't ask for permission, he just does. But now he has a partner and is genuinely asking for Pepper's advice.
Something tells me I should put it in a lockbox and drop it to the bottom of the lake.
But would you be able to rest?
And they made the right call about not playing coy about where this all leads. The shock of Tony's death isn't nearly as important as preparing us and making it feel earned. Even if he sees it coming, the love of his life knows there's no rest for Tony when he has the power to affect change.
Guys, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah, well, you'd hope all the things you've done would give you a real, bright, burning sensation.
Time travel! I see this as an absolute win.
You're hired.
Wound up pushing time through Lang. It's tricky, dangerous.
Wonder if that might work on anyone else in the future. Tony removing the Black Panther scratches was the right call. Could have been an awkward reminder.
It's awesome.
Careful on re-entry. There's an idiot in the landing zone.
2 astute observations.
What's up, regular size man?
Side note, thank you for realizing how funny Don Cheadle is, filmmakers. Generosity. Also a meme win. Also full CG character handing something to a live action character. Supersonic rocket ship is exactly the Kinks song Thor would have on repeat in his new home away from home, where nobody has to be hip, nobody needs to be out of sight, even if maybe they should be. 2 CGI characters enter a house to converse with 2 other CGI characters and a guy in a fat suit. None of this makes sense.
Okay, I'm going to state something here. One of my favorite moments from when we went and watched this live, when we went and watched this, like first showing available.
The reaction from all the women in the audience when they fucking saw him.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
We were sitting in front of about, I'd say, 8 to 10 women, like, all within like a 2-3 row radius.
And they were all like...
They saw his hair was long again, and they're like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. They saw his shirt wasn't on, they're like, oh my god, oh my god. He turns around and he's got the dad bod, and they're like,
and they'll go,
oh. Me and Nick, we were both just like,
we were cracking up.
Oh my gosh, it's one of the greatest feelings ever.
Yeah.
Oh, such disappointment. Oh, so real. Holy shit. Because for someone who can't grow their hair out very long, I mean, you can, which you having the long hair is one thing. Someone who doesn't have, like, the pretty boy blonde hair and all that, and also someone who is pretty much a permanent dad bod, at least for now. I mean, it's actually sort of relieving whenever anticipation is met with sheer crushing disappointment the very moment they realize that we're now dealing with dad bod Thor. Oh god. Priceless.
Gordon barely glances away from his game for a split second.
Feel free to log into the Wi-Fi. No password, obviously.
Also, Korg's alive! Like, in the flesh, not just confirmed by a director. Bottle opener.
Look like melted ice cream.
You mean Chris Hemsworth's workout routine? Look at those abs. It's just a little subcutaneous fat.
Chop Thanos' big head of
Stormbreaker?
Korg is always a win.
You wanna know who helped me out of it?
Natasha.
It was you.
A moment that doesn't really matter if you missed Ragnarok, but you're rewarded if you saw it. Quick things like this are why the MCU works.
We're not into it. Don't care. Couldn't care less. Goodbye.
Not to mention this further shift from OG Thor, allowing him to truly embrace Ragnarok Thor. Man, first night shot of a city shows that roughly half the buildings have their lights out. Want to do a 2-minute wonder with a sword fight at the end? You'll need Hiroyuki Sanada.
Yes.
Even if it's tough to believe that Ronin could beat the Twilight Samurai so easily, Hiroyuki Sanada is always a win.
Yes.
And Shinjin's been killed twice now in Marvel.
Drifting left. One side there, Lebowski.
Lebowski's dead. Hey-ho, 8113 in a non-Pixar movie. Oh, hey, a bigger one.
Why don't we just find baby Thanos, you know, and...
First of all, that's horrible.
It's Thanos.
I mean, if Deadpool can't do it, none of you can.
Time cop, time after time.
Quantum Leap.
Wrinkle in time, somewhere in time.
Hot tub time machine.
Hot tub time machine.
All great examples. Super appreciate only one gets a double mention. You could say it's a great white buffalo.
If you travel to the past,
I get that.
past becomes your future, and your former present becomes the past, which can't now be changed by your new future.
I really appreciate this explanation. It's hard to have time travel not be a panacea for every problem that ever comes up ever again. The multiverse is the answer, even if some people may be lying about it later. Thor's back, but he's not back. He said he was there for the beer, so he's checked out of all the important stuff, jamming more kinks on his headphones, I assume. At first, this is just played off as a bit of sad nostalgia, but you can bet Tony made it clear to Clint that he needed to confirm objects can be brought back with them, breaking the old Terminator rule. Never exposited for us, just an example of filmmakers trusting their audience a little.
Take it to Asgard, which is where I'm from.
Leave it to the nicest Avenger to try to keep the smile up for the drowning tail. Ha! Hulk's eating his own ice cream. And no one's got a fork for Nebula?
This is the fight of our lives. And we're gonna win. Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
To be fair, he's had so much practice, but I don't ever get tired of it. Glad he got one more solid, rousing speech in there.
Promise to bring that back in one piece, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
do my best.
These goofy little character interactions are such a huge part of why the MCU and these team-up movies are such a gift to all of us. Rocket and Hawkeye's first time working together, first time meeting. It's that feeling I think I first described in Civil War, where my two buddies I've known independently for years are messing with each other and having a good time. It's like introducing your cool friend to your other cool friend, and they both just get cooler in the process, and you feel cooler by association.
It's kind of the same feeling I got whenever I introduced you all to Chad, and y'all hit it off.
Yeah.
Love that feeling.
See you in a minute.
Maybe smash it.
Oh, I got that.
Both just get cooler in the process, and you feel cooler by association.
That thing there with Nat, that's sad.
See you in a minute.
Say amen.
Maybe smash a few things along the way. I think it's gratuitous, but whatever.
Gratuitous or not? Wait, so whose workout routine is this? Let's just call it Professor Hulk's. Believably selling the bit. I appreciate that there's no real shade thrown at movies that weren't as loved as others. They'll do it sometimes to say, hey look, we're cool, we hate this too, but no, you're allowed to like The Dark World. It's still part of the MCU. Some people have even made videos about why it's alright to like it. Thor found a beer pouch in his time travel shrink suit. God slap.
You guys watch each other six.
They take that to like the most insane extremes. Gamora's saving her sister. Wow, never thought I'd miss a baddie's theme.
Ronan's obsession clouds his judgment.
Thanos probably predicted Ronan's betrayal from the beginning, just letting us know how cunning he really is.
As far as I'm concerned, that's America's ass.
Yep, behind the scenes of iconic moments, and Tony lampshading some of the more unbelievable ones.
All right, get him on his feet. I'll stand around posing up a storm later.
Flick me.
There's a side story here where Nebula and Tony meet a couple times a month to practice paper football, and I want to see it. My, how things have changed. Last time Tony was falling from this building, it was tense, and now he's nearly invincible. Someone pointed that out a year ago.
Yeah, I do.
The MCU finally got that moment some of the comic community was so upset about for like a week. But talk about more character growth. Knowing that just because you can take them all, done it before, doesn't mean you should or even need to.
Yeah.
Loki's alive? Maybe?
That worked a treat. That was so crazy. I had no idea if that was gonna work.
OG formal Thor mixed with rebooted Ragnarok Thor. He was like this all along, guys. You just didn't see it.
Oh, you gotta be shit.
Language! Yes, sir.
I can do this all day.
Yeah.
This is one of those scenes you'd write in your head and you'd wish they'd put it in the movie, but then they gave it to us.
That is America's ass.
Compliments.
I give up the time stone to help your reality. I'm dooming my own.
That was probably my favorite part of the movie, actually.
Science.
It was just awesome.
Yeah.
Like that whole thing from the Hell Hydra up to that.
And not only that, but also him tricking. I'm surprised he didn't mention, him tricking himself by when he was getting choked out by his past self. He went, Bucky's alive. That's how he got out of the chokehold. Because OG Cap let go, and he's like, what? And then that's how Cap got the advantage. And yeah, I'm surprised they didn't mention that in this.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Sure, a little jittery, whereas Professor Hulk barely took a second to think before going to take the time stone from the Ancient One.
Strange, he gave it away. He gave it to Thanos.
Willingly.
Yes.
Why?
I have no idea. Maybe he made a mistake.
Or I didn't.
I can't believe how well thought out this was. Strange knew he had to give the stone willingly to Thanos. It couldn't be taken because then the Ancient One wouldn't have known Strange saw the only outcome in which they win. Her ability to see the future, but not beyond her death, makes this all work. He sent her a freaking coded message.
That's
through
right.
time and death. You asked
Didn't
me
think
multiple
about
parts,
that.
And I literally had no other option. This movie is so dense and so long. Honestly.
So yeah.
I
don't think I entirely realized that either till just now.
I try, but
That's crazy.
Yeah, makes sense.
So next week, part 2.
Very cool.
Meantime, here's Tiny Guy being tiny.
Aww. That's sweet. So yeah, holy shit. 3 parts to this. God. And you see, I think
the next 2 parts are longer too.
Oh yeah. I'll say this. For everything, I think he's covering all 3 hours of the film in succession.
Yeah.
You know, this was the first hour. Next part will be the second hour. Third part will be the last hour. But, geez Louise, dude. I mean, it just goes to show you in some ways some of the depth that the filmmakers went to, especially considering the writing crew and the directors. The Russo brothers and Marcus and McFeely, the writers. The way they collaborated and worked together to craft this amazingly complex, amazingly dense thing with very few caveats to go about it, with so many moving parts. Keep in mind, Infinity War had 68 speaking roles. 68. And this one has, I think, even more, which is crazy to me. I mean, holy shit. Just goes to show you that, you know, great talent out there. I mean, they're capable of doing amazing things on film. And I think this is a perfect example of showing how when you give people the right tools and just everything coming together in such a perfect way that everything just makes sense, you know? Ugh, God. But that whole thing with the Ancient One right there talking to Bruce Banner, I mean, that to me is completely. I didn't realize that. I figured that the Ancient One would realize that that Stephen Strange probably had a good reason as to why he gave up the Time Stone, but I never put that together that Stephen Strange is pretty much leaving a big like a puzzle that can be figured out in any timeline for the Ancient One. That to me is just, I love that stuff. That's brilliant.
Yeah. Because that was one thing that I was kind of thinking afterwards is like they didn't fully explain still why he did that. It was like the only thing I was disappointed about, but technically they did. You just have to think about it the right way to realize that they did explain it. And like I didn't think about it that way until just now. So that's really cool. Is like technically they did explain that.
Yeah.
And I just kind of missed it because I'm a dumbass sometimes. So.
Nah, you're not a dumbass. It's just you have to look at things with a different perspective.
But that's why it irks me when people get mad because I change my opinions about stuff after the fact, because I'll either like watch something and be like, I didn't really like it that much, and then I'll talk to people, they'll explain things that I didn't realize, and then I'll be like, I'll go give something a second chance, and I'm like, alright, now I like it a lot.
And then you watch it again.
Or I'll watch something and I'll like it the first time because I didn't think about it very carefully, and then I'll talk to people and I'll get more ideas and stuff, and then after the fact I'll be like, yeah, in retrospect, that was pretty fucking stupid.
Well,
and like, it's okay to fucking change your opinion on something because you've thought about it harder and like had more realizations about it. You don't have to stick with the same opinion you initially had of something. Using critical thinking is okay. Like, come the fuck on. It's like that actually just gave me like a little bit of like extra respect for the movie just from finding that out whenever I didn't think about it that way to start with. So that's another point on top of me already really liking the movie a lot. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, you really have to dig and find nitpicks to really tear into this film. There's not like a huge glaring issue. Like even my little spiel at the beginning about Captain Marvel, that's more of a nitpick instead of like a big massive issue that I have with the film.
Yeah. Like I felt like the most like believable part where they used her was actually her saving Tony at the beginning.
Yes, I believe that too.
Because I was just like, oh, okay, cool. Like, well, I'm actually kind of glad she's there for that reason.
Yes.
Like, but in terms of like coming at the end, I kind of agree. It's like she wasn't really fully necessary. And like,
no.
But I don't know.
I don't know either. It's just, it's weird, dude. It's weird thinking about stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think they could have found a more logical way to find out where Tony and Nebula were.
But see, the other thing about it is like that whole end sequence of the film was purposefully a gigantic fuck ton of fan service. And it may not have made for like the best possible like story they could have told, but it was enough and done in the right way that it was very pleasing to everyone who's been a fan of the series that entire time, and that to me is also acceptable as opposed to just writing it in the best possible way they could have story-wise, you know.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes fan service is acceptable if done cool enough and in the right ways, and like this is one example. Like another example of like fan service being used in a cool enough way that I was kind of alright with it was Pyramid Head in the Silent Hill movie. Because he doesn't technically make sense to be in anyone's version of Silent Hill except for James Sutherland. Yes. And the fact that he got reused in previous games badly as fan service also downgraded those games in terms of how good they could have been. Like 4 was the like best thing because instead of doing Pyramid Head, they had a new character which actually wasn't even as intimidating as him, but is still in his own right one of my favorite Silent Hill characters just because he's so cool and mysterious, which is Voltaire.
Yeah.
But him being in the movie, he was fucking badass in the movie.
Yeah,
and, like,
he was.
I was like, the fact that it was done that well and I was that terrified of him, like, I'll give him a pass on it. And that's why I still give that movie a bit of a pass as a video game movie.
The first one.
Yeah, the first one. Not the second one. The second one's garbage fire, but the first one's not bad.
Yeah, I remember me and my dad.
Not nearly as bad as it could have been, anyway.
No, nowhere near. Yeah. But yeah, it is what it is. All right. Well,
the whole fan service of like everyone at the end of Game, I was just totally cool with because I was like, all right, fuck yeah, whatever.
Yeah. So again, everybody, for those of you out there who want us to watch the rest of these, we're probably going to watch the rest of these. I mean, but if you want us to, feel free to let us know on the Discord, which is where this was recommended from, and we're doing it. So if you want us to do it, feel free to recommend it to us on there. And also, if you want to see more from us, there's a subscribe button right down there, and also a bell that you can ring to stay notified. If you like this video, feel free to give it a like. If you want to see the original, there's a link in the description down below. Take you to the original video where you can check out Cinema Wins, which has how many subs right now? 1.3 million subs. Awesome.
Nice.
So, yeah. And also, I'm going to leave a like on this video. So,
thank you, Cinema Wins, for pointing out something I didn't realize about the movie.
Exactly.
Hell yeah.
That's why I like this one. That's why I like this a lot. So, anyway, everybody, thank you all so much for tuning in. And I guess until next time, signing off, I'm Nate.
I'm Nick.
We will see you all in the next one. Peace out.